I still remember the first football I ever touched. Back then, it was just me, a ball, and a dream. Every day after school, I would run outside and spend hours practicing alone. Nobody was watching. Nobody cared. But I cared. Because every time I kicked that ball, I imagined something bigger. I imagined stadiums, fans, championships, a life that felt impossible. School wasn't easy. My grades started falling. Teachers kept telling me that football wasn't a real plan, that I needed to focus on something more realistic. Sometimes they were angry. Sometimes they were disappointed.
Sorry, sir.
And sometimes I started doubting myself too. But every time I thought about quitting, something inside me wouldn't let me. So I kept going. Every morning started the same way. Wake up, train, school, train again, sleep, repeat, over and over. While everyone else was relaxing, I was chasing a dream that only I could see. Then one day everything changed. I got invited to a football academy trial. I remember walking through those gates for the first time. I was nervous. My hands were shaking because this wasn't practice anymore. This was an opportunity. Maybe the opportunity. The academy was full of talented players. For the first time in my life, I wasn't the best player on the field. Everyone was fast. Everyone was skilled. Everyone wanted the same thing. Only a few would make it. The coaches watched every move, every pass, every mistake, every sprint. Every decision felt like it could decide my future. Training became harder than anything I had ever experienced. Long sessions, intense workouts, strict schedules. Pain became normal. Exhaustion became normal. Pressure became normal. Some nights I sat alone wondering if I was good enough. I watched football matches for hours, studying players, learning movements, learning decisions, trying to understand what separated good players from great players. There were days when I wanted to quit, days when I felt completely exhausted, days when nothing seemed to work. But every difficult day taught me something, and every setback made me stronger. Eventually, the hard work started paying off. The academy accepted me. For the first time, I felt like I truly belonged somewhere. But getting in was only the beginning. The real challenge was staying there. Every day I trained alongside players who were just as hungry as I was. Everyone wanted the same dream. Everyone wanted the same future. And everyone was willing to work for it. The coaches pushed us harder than we had ever been pushed before. Every drill had a purpose. Every mistake was noticed. Every improvement mattered. I still remember my first conversation with the head coach. He looked at me and said, "You have potential, but potential means nothing without discipline." Those words stayed with me. Training became my entire life. Practice, recovery. Practice again. Day after day, week after week. Some days I left the field completely exhausted. My legs hurt. My body hurt. But I knew every session was making me stronger. Recovery became just as important as training. Ice baths, stretching, proper sleep. Everything mattered. Even my meals changed. No more eating whatever I wanted. Every meal became fuel for the next session. At night, while everyone else was relaxing, I was still working, studying, learning, trying to improve every part of my game. Most people only see match day. They don't see the sacrifices behind it. They don't see the early mornings, the late nights, the missed parties, the missed holidays. Every morning started before sunrise. While the city was sleeping, I was already running, trying to become a little bit better than I was yesterday. Then came gym sessions, strength, endurance, balance, the things nobody notices during a match, but the things that win matches. After that came more football, more touches, more passes, more shots, thousands of repetitions, again and again. Slowly, I started noticing something. I was improving. The things that once felt difficult were becoming natural. My confidence was growing. But progress wasn't always easy. There were moments when I doubted myself, moments when I felt stuck, moments when I wondered if all this effort was worth it. Whenever that happened, I watched football. I studied the best players in the world, how they moved, how they thought, how they handled pressure. Then I would come back stronger, more focused, more determined, more ready. And one day after training, the coach called me over. I didn't know why. I thought maybe I had done something wrong. But instead, he smiled and said, "We need to talk about your future." One day I was offered my first professional contract. I couldn't believe it. Years of sacrifice had finally become real. A few days later, the club officially introduced me as one of their players. For the first time, I saw my name next to the club badge. And for the first time, I wore the number that would follow me for the rest of my career. Number 10. Suddenly, there were cameras everywhere. Questions, interviews, expectations. Everything was happening so fast. The fans started noticing me. People I had never met believed in me. They held signs. They cheered my name. They supported me before I had achieved anything. And that support meant more than they could ever imagine. Then came the day I had dreamed about since childhood. Walking out onto a massive stadium. Thousands of people in the stands. Bright lights everywhere. The sound of the crowd shaking the entire arena. I had imagined this moment 1,000 times. But nothing compared to the real thing. The first match felt unreal. Every touch of the ball mattered. Every pass mattered. Every decision mattered. But once the game started, everything became simple again. It was still football. The same game I had loved my entire life. Then came our first major victory. The final whistle blew. The crowd erupted. And for the first time in my life, I lifted a professional trophy. I remember standing there looking at the cup, thinking about every early morning, every difficult training session, and realizing it had all been worth it. After the match, reporters wanted interviews. Everyone wanted to know how it felt. But honestly, I didn't even know what to say. I was just grateful. Grateful to be living the dream I had chased for so many years. The journey wasn't over. In many ways, it was only beginning. The trophies were exciting. But there were still bigger goals ahead. Still bigger dreams. Still bigger challenges. The journey wasn't over. In many ways, it was only beginning. The trophies were exciting. But success comes with a different kind of pressure. Suddenly, people expected greatness every single week, every match. Cameras followed me everywhere. Reporters wanted stories, fans wanted photos. And for the first time, I understood what it meant to be a professional football player. Newspapers started writing about me. Headlines, interviews, predictions. People called me one of the brightest young talents in football. It felt surreal. Everywhere I went, fans showed their support. They believed in me. Sometimes even more than I believed in myself. But no matter how much success I achieved, I always made time to stop and think. To remember where everything started, the empty fields, the early mornings, the sacrifices nobody saw. Success didn't make me work less, it made me work harder. Because staying at the top is harder than reaching it. So every morning, I kept training, I kept running, I kept learning, I kept improving. Because I knew there was always another level to reach. Through all the victories, one thing remained the most important: family. The people who supported me long before the trophies, long before the fans, long before the fame. Years later, I achieved more than I ever imagined. League titles, cup victories, individual awards, moments that would stay with me forever. The boy who once trained alone after school had become the player he always dreamed of being. And eventually, I lifted the biggest trophy of my career, the moment every football player dreams about. The moment that made every sacrifice worth it. Standing there, holding that trophy above my head. I wasn't thinking about the crowd. I wasn't thinking about the cameras. I wasn't thinking about the headlines. I was thinking about the journey. The school days when nobody believed in me. The endless training sessions, the failures, the doubts. The moments when quitting felt easier than continuing. And realizing that every single one of those moments had led me here.